Yeah, I'll start with the big news from this week, which was for the first 7 months of 2025, so up to July and including. The Russian budget deficit grew to 4.9 trillion rubles, which is close to 20% of all spending. Usually in past year, it had grown in the previous month and then shrunk to just 1 trillion by July, but this year it kept growing. So over July, it grew by another 1.2 trillion rubles, and this is because Russian revenue grew by only 2.8%, while Russian budget spending grew by over 20%. And primarily revenue grew because of other taxes, because oil and gas revenues actually dropped by 18.7% this year for the first 7 months. Also, we have information from the Russian government on their oil and gas revenue for July. It was 27% lower than in July 2024 and came in at around 787 billion rubles. So for the period from January to July 2025, like I said, it was 18.7%. It's actually 18.5% lower to just 5.52 trillion. Now, there is a jump from June to July in revenues from oil and gas by 59%, but this is because July is one of the 4 months in the year when there's additional taxes that are paid once every 3 months. So it had 302 billion rubles in those taxes. And even then, its oil and gas revenues were 292.5 billion rubles higher than in June 2025. The average on which the Ural oil price was calculated for July was $59.8 per barrel versus $69.6 per barrel in July 2024. This is the price for the previous month, so we're comparing June versus June 2024 Ural oil prices. This is again better than May, when the oil price was $52.1 per barrel. The July price is calculated even higher at $60.4 per barrel, but as we said, that the ruble is going to be also a bit higher at 78.7 rubles per dollar in June versus 80.5 rubles per dollar in May. Again, we're talking a bit higher than before. For comparison, in June 2024, it was just 88 rubles per dollar. So that's one of the big issues for the Russian government. The ruble is too strong for them to cover their ruble expenses.